Part 30. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich John Word. Chapter 291. Chapter 291. Damn it, if you didn't tell me earlier, your work would have been in vain. When Li Baikan put Sunian on the bed, the woman opened her eyes. The mist in his eyes was like a little deer lost in the mountains. There is no hunter who can put down his shotgun, because all they can do is pick up a shotgun. Author, ha 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 ha, tell me clearly what kind of gun you picked up. Li Baikan took a deep breath and calmed down. You have stayed in the bathtub for too long. It is not good for your health. Have you forgotten how you feel about taking medicine these days? You are always so careless about yourself. Body, I think you don't care about your body at all. Li Baikan's voice was very serious. His purpose is to control his thinking and focus on business matters. I am already like this, and he is still thinking about drinking medicine. No wonder he has 3 seconds. Li Baikan. I must take him down today. Sunian hugged his neck and said in a delicate and weak voice, why do you always take medicine? Can't you do it without taking medicine? This sound was like a hook, hooking Li Baikan's heart. It was difficult for him to adjust his condition and start walking again. Then he carefully put her on the bed. Just when Sunian was going to follow this trend and hook the person onto the bed and perform the rectification on the spot, Li Baikan spoke again, you can't sleep without drying your hair. Otherwise, you will easily get a headache when you get old. I'll get you a towel, wipe your hair. After saying that, he immediately broke away from Sunian and walked back to the bathroom. This made Sunian confused. When Li Baikan took out the towel, he heard Sunian complaining in his heart. I am 36C and 36C, does he really have no reaction at all? Li Baikan's throat rolled. He has to think of a way, this is not possible. Li Baikan sat on the bed with a towel, held the woman with gurgling eyes in his arms, and began to wipe her hair. Sunian was about to make a small move. When he looked up and saw the seriousness in the man's eyes, he felt a little unable to do it. The man's serious look, if you didn't know better, you would think he was dealing with something big. It seems like no one has ever wiped my hair like this before. Li Baikan's body paused. He couldn't help but think of that dream. The happiness in her eyes after knowing that she was pregnant. Can I wipe your hair from now on? Li Baikan said warmly. Sunian heard it and subconsciously responded. At this moment, Sunian was in such a state that no matter how careful he was, Li Baikan could not help but touch her jade-like body. Every moment refreshes the limits of Li Baikan's self-control. The feeling of touching her is infinitely amplified with every touch. Okay, it's done, you can go to sleep. After finishing speaking, Li Baikan put the person down. But when the person left his arms, he did not relax. It feels like something important is missing. With a slight loss of consciousness, Sunian was pressed under him. He kissed her skin, and every place and every stroke seemed to make his blood boil. Sunian couldn't help but raise his heart. Although she was looking forward to this day, when it actually came, Sunian was a little scared. But at this moment, Li Baikan said something in her ear. Li Baikan said, the old Chinese medicine doctor said that when you drink this medicine, you must refrain from sexual intercourse, otherwise it will affect our ability to have children, so, hey. Damn, if I didn't tell you earlier, my work would have been in vain. Can I kick this guy out now? End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich John Word. Chapter 292. Chapter 292. Why doesn't this guy leave and disturb others' beauty sleep? Li Baikan didn't have time to react. The little woman who was originally under him immediately rolled to the side. A look like, don't touch me. She is completely different from the one she was just now. Although Lee Baiken knew what this little woman was thinking, she was still so ruthless that he couldn't help but laugh. He even felt that if he really couldn't control it and let Sunian succeed, she would definitely put on a skirt and deny recognition. My hair has dried, Baiken, it's so late, you'd better go back and rest. Sunian began to issue an order to expel guests. Lee Baiken did not leave immediately, but picked up the bath towel and walked to the bathroom. Sunian, who was hiding in bed, blinked. Why hasn't this guy left? It's so late and he's disturbing others' beauty sleep. Hey, it's all this guy's fault for not saying it earlier. If he had said it earlier, then I definitely wouldn't bother. Under Sunian's gaze, Lee Baiken finally went out. Sunian yawned, then got up and changed into pajamas. Just when she was about to sleep, the door to the room was pushed open again. Turning around, he saw Lee Baiken walking in with a glass of milk. It's been a long time since you've been washing. Let's drink a glass of hot milk before going to sleep. Sunian was really sleepy after struggling so much, so in order to let the person in front of her go out quickly so that she could get some beauty sleep, she took the milk from Lee Baiken's hand without saying a word and drank it directly. After finishing the drink, he said casually, Baiken, you are so considerate, so falling in love with you is the best thing I have ever done in my life. Listening to Sunian's perfunctory tone, the corners of Lee Baiken's lips curled up unconsciously. Still couldn't help but come to Sunian and placed a shallow kiss on her lips. Good night. Sunian was stunned by this move. When she came back to her senses, she no longer muttered angrily, what is this? Are you teasing me? It doesn't work, but you are still teasing me. It's really hateful. After that, she threw herself into the bed. The other Lee Baiken had a hard time. I poured cold water in the bathroom for half the night to put down the heat. When he lay on the bed, the image of Sunian wrapped in a quilt and rolled away without hesitation appeared in his mind. It's all like this now. If that brat was really created, when he thought of this, Lee Baiken reached out and pressed his eyebrows. But if you really want to have a child, then Lee Baiken would like to have a daughter, like Sunian's daughter. His heart couldn't help but soften when he thought of his cowardly daughter. The night passed like this. Because he didn't sleep all night and did manual work, Lee Baiken was not in good spirits. When the initiator of all this saw him like this, he immediately expressed concern, Baiken, why do you look so bad? Are you feeling uncomfortable? If not, you need to see a doctor. Lee Baiken sighed in his heart, and then pulled the chatterbox into his arms. I'm fine, you don't have to worry. How can it be okay? Do you look like someone who is okay? Ha ha ha. God finally opened his eyes. He couldn't bear that I took medicine for so many days and made this guy sick. He, I will find the Chinese medicine doctor later and give this guy a look. No, I want to secretly give that old man money. I want Lee Baiken's medicine to be 100 times better than mine. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Which John Word. Chapter 293. Chapter 293. Yes, Mr. Liu is so clean and self-sufficient. Just when Sunian was thinking about things, Lee Baiken kissed her on the lips. Okay, I don't feel uncomfortable anymore. If I feel uncomfortable again, then I will just kiss you a few more times. No need to bother. Sunian. My lipstick. I just learned a new lip shape from a beauty blogger today, and he actually kissed me. Did he destroy it personally? This cute guy, if I don't let him drink the medicine today, then I won't call him Sunian. Sunian immediately grabbed his arm. Baiken, I am telling you the truth. Your body is very important. What will you do if something happens to you? Do you want me to be a widow? Then I will be alone. Do you really have the heart to live alone in this world? But having said that, Li Baikan really should see a Chinese medicine doctor. After all, the time is a bit too short. Didn't that old Chinese doctor say that I have severe kidney fire? This guy probably has kidney fire deficiency. Could it be that it was for this reason that Li Baikan was unwilling to see a doctor? If this is really the case, you must see an old Chinese doctor. Li Baikan. As he watched the little woman in front of him look more and more serious, he didn't know what to say. The atmosphere suddenly became awkward. At this moment, Josu hurriedly came in. Mr. Li, the person in charge of the foreign branch, called and said that he has something important to discuss with you. When he heard this, Li Baikan subconsciously breathed a sigh of relief. This Josu finally did something right. Okay, I'll go to the company right away, Li Baikan responded and took Sunian's hand. Let's go to the company. When we have time, we will slowly discuss this matter. This time Li Baikan didn't give Sunian a chance to speak and took her away directly. Sunian suddenly became depressed. Damn it, why did Josu appear at this time? But it seems that Li Baikan really has a problem, that's why he is like this. I must think about it carefully. After all, this is related to my experience, so I must not be careless. Lan Min was in a tangle after Sun Ying'er left. You must know that no woman is willing to share her man with another woman, but if Huo Linyuan is not persuaded, what will happen if something really happens to the Huo family? She knew Huo Linyuan. If Huo Linyuan really fell from that position, he might really go crazy. At the same time, Lan Min also knew very well that the reason why the Huo group was in such a situation was entirely because Li Baikan did not accept him, so he dealt with the Li family. Li Baikan, haha, you think too much, I just want to kill you too. Lan Min was originally injured, and with such random thoughts, her body was aching. You should know that Li Baikan will always be by your side at times like this. Even if Li Baikan is not here, Huo Linyuan is also there. When Lan Zhen saw the empty room, she couldn't help but shed tears. Just at this time, Lu Jing came. When Lu Jing came in and saw the scene of a beautiful woman crying, he felt that he had made the right decision to let Sun Ying'er appear. Humph, I guess you should be awake now. Huo Linyuan and Li Baikan were surrounded by some kind of birds, but he was not. That's right, Mr. Lu is so clean and self-possessed. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich John Word. Chapter 294. Chapter 294, The enemy's pig teammates are your good teammates. Jian'er, what's wrong? Your body is still very weak now. The doctor said that what you need now is to rest. Your current mood must remain stable and not be too ups and downs. If the ups and downs are too big, it may affect your health. Your body, thereby leaving the root of the disease. When Lan Jing saw Lu Jing, he seemed to have seen a savior and grabbed him directly. Lu Jing, tell me if something happened to Lin Yuan, so you didn't come to see me during this period. Is not it? Lu Jing secretly wanted Lan Min to worry less about Li Baikan and Huo Linyuan. It would be best for Lan Min to be completely disappointed with them during this period, so that he could embrace the beauty. So after Lan Yan said this, Lu Jing held her hand, looked at her with extremely sincere eyes and said, "These are not important. The most important thing now is your body. After all, the body is the capital of revolution. If something goes wrong with your body, nothing can be done. Sun Ying'er came just now, Lin Yuan's fiancée. She told me that Lin Yuan is now in a huge crisis. If I persuade Lin Yuan to give her a child, then she will help Lin Yuan." Lu Jing. After hearing this, young Master Lu immediately changed the subject. "Hey, I accidentally let that Sun Ying'er in. I really don't want you to know. This will affect your rest too much. Since you already know, even if I want to keep hiding it, you will try my best to find out, and it will affect your body even more. The circle of the upper class in the city is already so large. Lu Jing naturally knew what Sun Ying'er was like, including the Sun family behind her. If Huo Linyuan was really entangled with the Sun family, it would be even more impossible for him to compete with him. The time for the beauty he hugged to return has been advanced again. Lu Jing decided that if he succeeded, he would definitely give Sun Ying'er a big red envelope. Now Li Baikan is really ruthless. He cut off Huo Linyuan's funds and gained an advantage in various public opinions. Moreover, Li Baikan has now completely drawn a clear line with you. He dragged his wife to show affection and severely improved their company. Under such circumstances, Huo's situation is really precarious. These words successfully made Lan Min feel anxious. She did not expect that Huo Linyuan would be facing such a situation now. At this time, Sun Ying'er's words rang in her mind again. Is it true? Lan Min's heart ached when he thought about that possibility, and he quickly covered his heart. Jian'er, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Are you feeling uncomfortable? If you are feeling uncomfortable, then I will go find a doctor for you now. But Lan Min shook his head. I'm fine, I want to find Linyuan. At this time, I must be by Linyuan's side, otherwise Linyuan will definitely be very lonely. I can't let Linyuan feel isolated and helpless. I want Linyuan to know that no matter what happens, I will be by his side. When Lu Jing saw her like this, he couldn't help but said, it's useless for you to go, and you can't help him. You have no name or status now, and you can even be said to be a bad lover. At this critical moment of Huo's family, Huo Linyuan has a lover by his side. It doesn't look good. Lan Min. Sunian, Mr. Lu, are you my teammate? End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich John Word. Chapter 295. Chapter 295 about singing conquest. Lover, it took a long time for Lan Min to come back to his senses. It was then that Lu Jing realized that he seemed to have accidentally spoken out what was in his heart. Ahem, these are not important, not important. How could I be a lover, Lu Jing, how could you say that? As my good friend, how could you say that? Lan Min said with disbelief. Lu Jing thought for a while, and although it was a bit cruel, he still wanted Lan Ren to know Huo Linyuan's true face. Hey, actually I have wanted to say it for a long time. If Huo Linyuan really wants to marry you, he will definitely propose to you and then get married. But for so many years, you have no status at all. You really need to see it clearly. Huo Linyuan's true face, you must know that a woman's youth may only last a few years. If you really delay it, it will be a lifetime. But after saying this, Lu Jing felt something was wrong. Why do I feel like he is a friend of women? I want to see Linyuan, I want to see Linyuan. Lan Min grabbed Lu Jing tightly. If it had been before, Lu Jing would definitely have disagreed. But now he agreed. After all, if Lan Min went to Huo Linyuan like this, he would definitely have a quarrel. I immediately took Lan Min to the Huo group. On the way there, he did not forget to send a text message to Li Baikan, saying that he could do anything as long as he could kill Huo Linyuan. Don't just treat him as a chess piece, just treat him as your son. About an hour later, Sun Ying'er sent a video to Sunian. Sunian clicked in casually. The next moment, she felt that a flock of crows were really flying above her head. The video shows the heroine Lan Min kneeling on the ground, begging Huo Linyuan to give up her love for the company and everyone. That one is so inspiring. Sunian felt that he was almost moved to tears. Ah, this great love. But Sunian soon realized a problem. Sunian, how did you get this video? Did you install a camera in Huo Linyuan's office? Sun Ying'er, if I had that ability, Huo Linyuan would definitely kneel down and sing Conquer to me every day. Sing Conquest? Sunian couldn't help but fantasize when he saw these three words. If Lee Baiken kneels down and sings "Conquer" to me, task tisk, then I can just die and restart the game. Lee Baiken, who was swiping his signature on the document, immediately pressed down the pen. What kind of messy idea is this? Forget it, I can't even get the seeds, and I still sing "Conquer." If I sing it to him, it's almost okay. Hey, as long as I can get the seeds of this guy Lee Baiken, it doesn't matter even if I sing it to him. Lee Baiken. He thought of the lyrics. Then there was a violent coughing sound in the office. Sunian immediately raised his head. Baiken, why are you coughing? It's okay. You can play here for a while. I have a meeting to attend. I'll be back later. Lee Baiken left quickly after saying this. Sunian turned his attention to the phone again. Sunian, there is something wrong with the angle of this video. Sunian, the angle of this video makes it feel like it was shot on purpose. Sun Ying haha, you also discovered that this Lanmin is a green tea bitch. It can be said that in the field of green tea, if Lanmin ranks second, then no one will rank first. Even I think that if she opens a tea house, she won't have to look for supplies. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Jong Word. Chapter 296. Chapter 296. Can you still play like this? Lee Baiken, who went out for a meeting, was smoking on an empty balcony. The phone rang. He glanced at the caller ID and then pressed the answer button. Lu Jing's triumphant voice rang out, "Hey, I spent a lot of money to let Lanmin see through that Huo Linyuan, such as letting my beloved woman suffer. Hey, now that I see those public opinions, I am really hurt. Heart." Listening to Lu Jing's nonsense, Lee Baiken felt his mood dissipated a little. You did a good job by posting the video of her begging Huo Linyuan everywhere. In this way, the Sun family will not invest in Huo Linyuan for the sake of face. After all, if they invest, it will appear that the Sun family is supporting the Huo family. Lee Baiken said this casually. He flicked the cigarette ashes and said, the Sun family cannot afford to lose this person. Although Lee Baiken didn't know what the plans of the two women Sunian and Sun Ying were. But it's always bad luck for Lanmin. I don't think it will have any impact. Then Huo Linyuan won't have any conflicts with Zhu. Aren't my days spent in vain? It's not in vain. The more you don't let Huo Linyuan do something, the more he will want to do it. Lee Baiken knew very well that if Huo Linyuan lost the help of the Sun family, he would be even more isolated and helpless. Everyone has bad qualities in their heart. When dealing with things becomes more and more difficult, you can't help but think about what it would have been like if you had chosen another path at that time. Would it be better to go? It is easy to kill someone, but it is difficult to kill someone's heart. Yes, you are smarter. Anyway, I have stopped all cooperation with the Huo family. This time Huo Linyuan is alone. Unfortunately, after this incident, it is not easy for me to see Huo Linyuan. If I could, I want to see more of Huo Linyuan's face now. It must look good. Lee Baiken hung up the phone before Lu Jing could finish saying this. After all, the reason why he answered the phone was just to stop himself from thinking about Sunian's words. The purpose has now been achieved. There is no need to listen to this guy continue to talk. Sunian can feel how resentful Sun Ying is when she reads the text she sent. She sympathized with this. However, Sunian was not surprised by this video. After all, it is normal for the heroine Mary Sue to do some things. Next, they began to discuss their next plan. Sunian, now your family may not marry Huo Linyuan. I think we should find someone like Huo Linyuan, and then sneak in front of Lan Min to let her know your attitude. Sun Ying this is a bit difficult. It is a bit difficult to find someone like Huo Linyuan in a short period of time. Sunian, what's the difficulty? There are so many anti-makeup bloggers on the internet. Find one that's awesome, set a higher price, and get it done in minutes. Sun Ying damn it, can you still play like this? Sunian, otherwise, don't think about things too complicatedly. You must know that there is nothing in this world that money cannot solve. If there is, then it only means that there is not enough money. Sun Ying immediately asked someone to look for her. Sure enough, I found the right one. The price is set very high. The final result was unbelievable to Sun Ying Sun Ying and Sunian unanimously decided that it was completely possible to confuse the fake with the real. Sunian couldn't help but lean into Sun Ying's ear. How about we trade the civet cat for the prince and replace the real one? Sun Ying thought carefully for a few minutes after hearing this. You can have this. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich John Word. Chapter 297. Chapter 297. The heroine recognized the wrong person again. Sun Ying immediately took people to find Lan Min. Similar to last time, Sunian is still watching live. Seeing Lan Min's shocked eyes, she felt so happy. Ying ask him to slap Lan Min. Sun Ying immediately gave orders. The makeup blogger immediately walked up to Lan Min and slapped her. Looking at Huo Linyuan in front of her, Lan Min was really heartbroken and almost suffocated. However, she knew that at this time, someone had to sacrifice, so she pretended to be sensible. Miss Sun, as long as you are happy, as long as if you are willing to help Linyuan, then even if you beat me to death, I will be willing to do so, as long as you can help Linyuan. This scene is really touching. Sunian, it's so touching, wow, I'm almost crying. Sun Ying then said word by word, Lan Shi, you said the wrong thing last time, and this time you admitted the wrong person. Is your love for Huo Linyuan really deep? Lan Shi suddenly froze. At this time, the fake Huo Linyuan looked at Sun Ying respectfully. Miss Sun, I said that I can exchange the fake for the real. I didn't deceive you. Sun Ying nodded with satisfaction. When you start the live broadcast tonight, I will definitely give you 100 Emperor sets. The fake Huo Linyuan suddenly beamed. Thank you, Miss Sun, thank you, Miss Sunday. Lan Min's face now couldn't be more ugly. Lan Min, this is the new Huo Linyuan I found. I brought it here specially. I hope you can help me identify it. However, the effect is good. If this is the case, then you should use it slowly with the real Huo Linyuan. When Sun Ying finished speaking, the door to the ward opened again. An angry Huo Linyuan walked in. The fake Huo Linyuan instantly hid behind Sun Ying. Sun Ying was still shocked when she really faced Huo Linyuan. After all, we have been together for so many years, even if we have a dog, we will still have feelings for him. At this moment, Sunian's voice rang out, Ying don't worry. Since this man didn't choose you, it's useless if he stalks you. Look how realistic the makeup blogger you found this time is. Ah, no big deal, let's spend more money next time and find someone with better technology. These words completely calmed down Sun Ying's mood. Even through the camera, Sunian could feel that the male protagonist wanted to kill someone. As a vicious female supporting character, of course she must use this opportunity to destroy the relationship between the male and female protagonists. Ying please tell me about the person Lan Min admits to being wrong. Huo Linyuan makes you uncomfortable, so you must make it uncomfortable for them too. Don't be a kind person. These days, good people will be bullied. Sun Ying knew what to do when she heard this. Huo Linyuan, I thought your relationship was really good, so I've been thinking recently about how to break you up, but now it seems that I'm thinking too much. After all, I can't even recognize my beloved. So much love, Sun Ying said and looked at Lan Min. If this is the love you are talking about, then I, Sun Ying have seen it. Miss Sun, you can't be so slanderous, that's why I can't recognize you. I didn't recognize him this time, so why did you call Li Baikan's name when you talked to me last time? By the way, I wonder if you called him by the wrong name when you were in love. When Sunian, who was watching the theater, heard this, he couldn't help but wonder if Lan Min had called the wrong name when the male and female protagonists were there. It's so exciting, I really want to see it. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich John Word. Chapter 298. Chapter 298 Miss Sun, you are also called a blocker to other people's love. If it were normal times, Huo Linyuan would not believe it. However, Lan Min's attitude towards Li Baikan during this period, as well as the worries these days, all combined together. Huo Linyuan had a sinister look in his eyes. Miss Sun, what do you want to do? You said you would help Linyuan if you want a child with Linyuan. I agreed. Why do you still treat me like this? Lan Min said pitifully. However, on the premise of admitting the wrong person, this statement appears to be untrue. Huo Linyuan's expression became worse and worse. He walked up to Lan Min and said, is the person in your heart more and more serious, either me or Li Baikan? Seeing this posture, Lan Min subconsciously took a few steps back. But now Lan Min's retreat, in Huo Linyuan's eyes, answered the question. I don't know, Lan Min said with trembling lips. Why don't you know? Huo Linyuan directly pulled Lan Min over. I told you that you can only be my woman in this life. If you change your heart, then I will definitely make you die in an ugly way. Lan Min's hair was pulled so hard that it hurt. But in her mind, Li Baikan would never treat her like this. Sun Ying next to her was also a little surprised to see Huo Linyuan like this. Although she knew that Huo Linyuan was cold-hearted and ruthless, she never expected that he would actually hit a woman. At this time, Sunian's voice sounded in the earphones. As expected, he is a domineering president worth hundreds of billions, with domineering methods and forced love. However, I think normal women will not like this. After all, even if he is rich, this is also domestic violence. Sun Ying also agrees with this. Suddenly I felt that this Huo Linyuan was not very good. Huo Linyuan, stop. Although Sun Ying hated Lan Ji she couldn't bear to hit a woman. Huo Linyuan was furious now, so he shouted directly to Sun Ying Sun Ying do you think you are qualified to take care of me, Huo Linyuan? These words made Sun Ying wonder if she had bad eyesight, so she fell in love with such a man before. I am indeed not qualified, but you are a man, how can you hit a woman? Is this the higher education you Huo Linyuan received? Just when Sun Ying was doubting herself, Lan Yan's voice rang out, Miss Sun, what are you going to do? You came here deliberately to say this. Do you want Linyuan to beat me to death? Miss Sun, your heart is really it's too cruel. What on earth do you want to do? Do you want to force me to death? Sun Ying Sunian, who was watching the show, was speechless. Ms Sun, you have become a roadblock for other people's love. In this way, you say, Lan Min, does it hurt when you get beaten? You also saw it. I found this one the fake Huo Linyuan looks so much like him, but he is also very obedient. Now that I see Huo Linyuan actually hitting a woman, I suddenly feel that the fake is quite good. I'll lend it to you to play with if you have time. Sun Ying was also speechless when she heard this. This is really hard to say. Sunian continued to tease, say it quickly. You're welcome. If you say it, you will definitely make Huo Linyuan so angry that his mouth is filled with smoke. Sun Ying didn't question this at all. but she was afraid that if she spoke out, she might not be able to leave the ward. Ying don't worry. I've brought people there now. If anything happens to you, I will arrive as soon as possible. Moreover, Huo Linyuan is short of funds now. He is counting on your family to invest. He can only hit you now. It's proof that there's something wrong with his brain. It's over, it's over. Last week, my editor told me that I failed the PK. I thought it was no longer recommended, so I was lazy and messed it up. I thought that since you guys don't know, I can at least be lazy until today, but it turned out that it was recommended again today. I probably won't be able to sleep tonight, so I won't be lazy next time. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich John Word. Chapter 299. Chapter 299. Give me an example to prove why I am so evil. After Sun Ying said this, Huo Linyuan's face couldn't be more ugly. Sun Ying do you know what you are talking about? Since Sun Ying said the first sentence, the rest was easy to say, so she continued to imitate Sunian's words. Of course I know what to say, and you won't marry me anyway. Huo Linyuan still has sense, and he knows that he still needs the support of the Sun family. However, the anger in his heart really made him unable to get up and down, and there was only one person present who could vent it. Makeup bloggers are also aware of this. The Imperial set is really hard to get. What do you want to do? Do you want to attack my people in front of me? Haha, feel free to move. Anyway, I can find thousands of people. I will change when I get tired of looking at your face. Sun Ying also breathed a sigh of relief at this time. Sunian is absolutely right. Huo Linyuan didn't dare to do anything to her. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first. After all, I don't like eating dog food very much, so I don't want to delay the sweetness of you too. Sun Ying opened the door and saw a smiling Sunian. But Lan Min's voice immediately sounded, Sunian, it turns out it's all your fault. Why did Miss Sun suddenly behave like this? It turns out it was you who deceived Miss Sunday. You have done so many evil things, and you will be punished. I do a lot of evil, so, let's give you an example. Why do I do a lot of evil? You instigate a relationship between me, Miss Sun, and Baikan, and make us kill each other, so that you can reap the benefits. Sunian had to admit that this heroine was still a bit literate. She directly said something like this, kill each other. What is your relationship with Baikan? Let's not mention it for now. Let's just talk about your relationship with Miss Sunday. You showed up and robbed someone else. My fiancé, in your situation, what kind of relationship do you have with Miss Sun? Please explain to me. No matter what comes first or what comes first. Under such circumstances, what is the relationship between you and Miss Sun? Do you still hope that Miss Sun will help you take care of the child after you have given birth? You robbed someone else's man, and you still hope that she will help you take care of the child. Lan Yan, you really don't know how to write the word shameless. Now that Sunian has appeared, this so-called heroine must be made so angry that her orifices are full of smoke. Otherwise, the trip would have been in vain. Lan Min looked at Sunian. At this moment, Sunian really felt that Lan Min's eyes really wanted to eat her alive. However, the more Lan Min looked like this, the happier Sunian felt, and then Sunian put his hands on Sun Ying's body. I forgot to tell you, Lan Mi and this Miss Sun and I really hit it off. After all, you wanted to take away our men at the same time. Although I took my man back, I am a kind person. I couldn't bear to see people suffering, so I just wanted to help my good sisters them away. Lan Ji's face was full of shock. Sunian, a scheming person, actually cooperated with Sun Ying. You have already robbed Baikan, why are you still not satisfied, what do you want? Sunian immediately replied, then I will return Li Baikan to you, do you want it? Yes, Lan Min said subconsciously. After finishing speaking, I realized that Huo Linyuan was here. At this time, Sunian took Sun Ying'er's hand and retreated. End of this chapter. The vicious female supporting character's character collapsed after her voice was eavesdropped. Author, R.O. Wich Zhang Word. Chapter 300. Chapter 300. I found this Lanzi has no brains. I find that this Lan person seems to have no brain. After the two came to the restaurant, they summed up the matter, and finally Sun Ying'er came to the conclusion. But Sunian shook his head, you are wrong. It's not that you have no brains, but that you are naive. You have known Huo Linyuan for so long, don't you know? People like Huo Linyuan have seen too many benefits and too many benefits. Compared with us women who wear gold and silver all day long, Lan Min is different. Sun Ying'er said with a look of disgust, no breasts, no butt, clear soup with little water, how can you compare with us? Sunian was drinking coffee when he heard this. Fortunately, she has great control, otherwise she might really slap Sun Ying'er in the face. What's your expression? Do you think I'm telling lies? Really, I investigated Lan Zhen inside and out. Her bust was not even a B, it was even an A, and the latitude of her butt. This reminded Sunian. When he first read this novel, he seemed to have seen the author's description that Lan Min's facial features were ordinary. Perhaps men just like such porridge and side dishes, and Huo Linyuan should be someone who likes to control everything. Although she is small, she can control it completely. Sun Ying'er, if you can catch 3 or 4 xiao longbao in one hand, you can still master it. At this moment, Sunian really felt as if he had met Sun Ying'er too late. After joking for a while, Sun Ying'er suddenly became serious. Sunian, I really feel like I'm late to meet you. If you tell me if there is anything you need me for, I will definitely take it seriously consider. I don't need you for anything. Sunian took a sip of coffee and said, if I guessed correctly, you still think that I am approaching you because of the Li family. That's right, although Sun Ying'er also feels a little bit reluctant to meet Sunian, and she also feels that it would be interesting to cooperate with Sunian. Dealing with Huo Linyuan is my husband's business. Indeed, I know that from the current situation, if I help my husband, then I may be able to become a great contributor to the entire company, but I am not that kind of utilitarian woman. I would like to take care of the person who needs to be taken care of while he is busy with this matter. After all, if I take care of it, I won't lose a kidney. Sunian said lightly, looking hurt. After all, she is a vicious female supporting character, and deliberately making herself miserable is a base move for a vicious female supporting character like her. In addition, I also understand that if I really approach you for any purpose, then you will not be able to agree. After all, this is a major matter related to 2 companies, and you cannot make the decision at all. Sun Ying'er really felt that she was overthinking when she saw Sunian like this. However, this is a critical time. Even Sun Ying'er heard that the chief designer of Li Group was also Sunian. She felt that Sunian came to her side, and she thought that through her, the Sun family behind her would be completely biased towards Li Baikan. Sunian, I think Li Baikan is blind when he doesn't like you in the end, Sun Ying'er could only say. This made Sunian laugh. I just know that the 2 of us are women, and there is no way to change the company. We are just clear-headed, so next, I need to use this opportunity to make Lan Min live and die. Sunian quickly put on a bad guy face. End of this chapter.